Hello, my name is Rohit, and today we'll be talking about agriculture. Today, I wanted to further dive into agriculture, but instead of a general overview, let's try taking deep dive into the detailed timeline on the history of agriculture. The first instance of agriculture was in 9000 BC, where the people of modern day Iraq, also known as Mesopotamia, began selectively breeding plants and animals found in nature to make them fit for human consumption and allow them to phase out traits in the organisms that were not desirable. The next few thousand years, farmers around the world would also follow similar practices, but for region specific plants and animals, which enabled previously nomadic tribes and cultures around the world to settle down and form proper civilizations. 2,000 years later, in 7000 BC, ancient Chinese farmers began rice farming, which at the time was a lucrative crop, allowing it to be a sustainable food source of the Chinese people for centuries. Other cultures other cultures would soon follow after China, which transformed many low-level civilizations into complex societies and more so than any crop, transformed the development of agriculture completely. Between 6700 BC and 6500 BC, the first sheep were farmed in Mesopotamia, as consistent exposure to human settlements and civilizations had caused animals to grow tamer and become more accessible food source. This was a direct result to the decline in wild game populations in Mesopotamia and would define animal domestication for many years after this point. Thousands of years later, in 300 BC, the Greek civilization developed grafting, a plant breeding process that utilized two different breeds of plants, joining them together to produce a new plant. It made the farming of woody plants such as apples, pears, and plums possible on a larger scale than previously thought. Between 1760 and 1795, breeders began to breed cattle and sheep based on their size and wool by methodically breeding the animals based on the desired traits and the traits that are desired to be phased out. This resulted in better meat and better wool production around the world and was the beginning of selective and artificial breeding in the modern world. The final major event in history regarding agriculture was in 1865 when new discoveries by Gregor Mendel, a priest, led to the discovery of inheritance and genetics, resulting in farmers being able to crossbreed and selectively breed their animals more effectively. Though Mendel's theories did not take precedence in the scientific community until 30 years later, so it was truly ahead of its time. This marks the end of the video. Thank you for listening to my timeline, and I hope you learned something new.